Okay, welcome to our City Council meeting on August 2nd, 2023. I am Leslie Jones. I'm the pro tem for our City Council meetings. I will get our meeting started. Mayor Hakes is en route and should be here momentarily. So we will start with an invocation offered by Theron Garrett and a Pledge of Allegiance offered by Councilmember Casey Beck.
Our dear Heavenly Father, we bow before Thee this evening. We're grateful for the many blessings that we've enjoyed. We're thankful for the moisture that has fallen today, and we're grateful for this opportunity that we have to gather as citizens and fellow community members. We're thankful for the many wonderful people that live here in this town, and we pray that Thou will bless them, guide them, and direct them in their lives, and please comfort those who are struggling or going through any trials at this time. We pray that Thou will bless us as we meet tonight and discuss these items, that we will do so professionally, and that we will have the outcomes best for this community. We pray that Thou will bless us with Thy Spirit to guide us in our lives, in the name of Thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Please stand and join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We have a public forum. We have one person that has signed up to speak, Paxton Guyman.
So that's actually me. I'm not here for that item. I'm here for the edge home.
Oh. Oh, excuse me. Are you Ron Ritchie?
No, I am.
Okay, so we've got Ron, Paxton, and this gentleman with Edge Homes.
I am Paxton. He's Paxton with Edge Homes. So I will not talk on the public comments. I'll just talk on the Edge Homes item that comes up.
I've got you. Okay.
Thanks.
Okay, now we're clear. Okay. Ron Ritchie, please come up here. This is an opportunity to speak to any public general comments.
Okay, do I have 3 minutes is what I understand?
Yes, and until we have our stopwatch, we're just going to
All
play it
right.
by ear.
Well, in the beginning, first of all, I just want to express my appreciation for this opportunity to speak to you. I appreciate your willingness to serve us as public servants. I know it's not an easy job, but I, for one, appreciate you. Now, the stuff that I have to kind of bring to your attention. I have a large lot on 700 West, acre and a half, and I irrigate it, at least in part, with Mapleton Irrigation Company flood irrigation. Back on July 1st, something unfortunate occurred. While we started the irrigation turn, myself and a couple of neighbors, John McGrath and Ben Jones, if you want their names, we're irrigating, and we smelled what we thought was diesel fuel in the irrigation water. We could see a sheen on the water. If I can give you some pictures, start from there. There's a little diagram in there that shows what we discovered happened. There was a vehicle that lost a tank of fuel out on 1600 North. And it flowed down the gutter into a storm drain, which unfortunately, and that's what I'm going to talk about, is cross-connected to the Mapleton irrigation pipe. And that, I believe, is a huge problem. So the essence of my complaint to the city is that, I'm just going to read this to get it through it fast, is the policy of allowing street runoff to enter the irrigation system is misguided, careless, and even dangerous. Being the very first irrigation water user after the section of pipe where this occurred on 1600 North, I now realize that for the past 30 years, I have been irrigating my garden with runoff water from the streets, and whatever happens to fall on the streets ends up, first and foremost, in my orchard and my vegetable garden, because I'm the very first guy after a length of pipe that doesn't get used but once every 12 days. So that's how what we thought was diesel fuel. We later found out that it was probably gasoline, that there were 2 pickup trucks. A witness saw it and smelled it, said it was gasoline. And it washed through the diesel fuel, or excuse me, washed through the asphalt on the roadway and brought the asphalt with it into my yard. And so it smelled kind of like diesel fuel, but not really. And I think it was gasoline mixed with asphalt. I'm even thinking that some of the the asphalt that's in the roadways when they get repaved or seal coated or anything, again, leaches in the rainwater into my garden. So, my goal is, and let me just point out that asphalt and gasoline, whatever, has benzene in it, which is a carcinogen, causes reproductive harm known to the state of California, you know all that. But my goal is to request that the city immediately begin budgeting for some major improvements to correct that stormwater, I'll call it stupidity. I don't know who authorized that. It's apparently legal. I had a very pleasant conversation with J.D. Shepard, who oversees this for the city, and he did a great job of trying to clean it up and helping me, and I very much appreciate that. He deserves some kudos. But he did tell me that there were some initiatives, master plan or something, for additional stormwater facilities here in the city. Every place else that I'm aware of in the northern part of Mapleton that has storm drains, they basically go into sumps. And that's what I believe should have been done there on 1600 North. That section of road was paved and put in curb and gutter and the irrigation pipe put underground approximately 25 years ago. It was 4 or 5 years after I moved here, is all that I remember. So I would like to respectfully request that the city budgets and take some action on improving the storm drains, and very specifically, getting rid of this cross connection that is materially harming me, I believe. And I hope I don't get cancer from the benzene. Anyway, a second quick brief matter was that we continue to have an urban deer problem in the north part of town, and had a quick conversation recently with one Rod Nielsen of the DWR, who told me that the 3-year, I believe it's called a COR, has expired, and I respectfully request that you redo that and re-up it. I've been in touch with the deer hunter who's quite effectively harvested lots of deer here, and he is willing and ready, and I got deer that I would love to get rid of. So thank you very much for your time. Any questions about any of it, or?
I might have a few.
Please.
Paxton, thanks for coming and addressing us.
I'm Ron, by the way.
Oh, you're Ron.
That's Paxton.
That's Paxton. I knew who Paxton is.
That's okay.
Ron, that's right. I was a little confused there. Rob, are you aware of the situation here on 1600 North? You guys had a chance to look at it?
Yeah, JD came and talked to me after both when it occurred and as he was taking care of it, and then we've talked about it since. So, in terms of the initial cleanup, he was able to get some of the absorbent pillow snakes, whatever it is that whatever you want to call it, that goes into the water. And then one of the things that was approved with this budget cycle starting July 1st is to update the stormwater master plan. So we are, I should have an RFQ out within the next couple of weeks to get a consultant on board and take a look at the options, what options we have of taking care of stormwater and what the costs are going forward, so that we can set our budgets and any associated fees that I guess produce that budget.
Yeah. Was JD able to confirm that the stormwater is connected to the same, I would assume, is it an open ditch, Ron? by your
No,
house?
it's a pipe.
It's
pipe
And then it
underground.
just has a head gate at your lot, or?
Yeah, the little diagram I was putting around, there's a head gate on
saw that.
1600, then there's another head gate on 1600 further down that sends it towards my lot, but it's all under pipe in the
Okay.
area in question.
Were
And
we
I
able-
counted at least 5 storm drain, 4 or 5, that
Inlets.
seem to go down into the irrigation ditch. I only know factually of the one that
Sometimes it can appear
problem.
that way, because sometimes they'll connect it across the street into a sump there, or other vice versa.
Right,
But
right.
Yeah.
But definitely the one that I've noted there is just right on the corner of 400 and 1600 does connect.
Yeah, so all new developments do infiltration, just like you're talking about, and sometimes that overflows into storm drain or the irrigation system. But, so all the new
Well,
stuff,
this one is dumping
yeah, is directly in. So, but,
Directly in.
yeah, so that's what I was gonna say, is that stuff probably within the last 15 to 20 years and newer does go into some sort of infiltration system. But yeah, a lot of the old stuff, there's around town that does connect directly into the irrigation system.
I want to ask, it's Ron,
Yeah,
right? Do you have, I'm just wondering, do you have a solution in mind that you would like to see happen? And
Oh,
I don't
yes.
want to assume
No,
that
no.
you've been part of some of the other conversations we've had about the storm drain
Well,
system in our city.
Yeah, I mentioned in my initial statement the sumps, and I call them a sump. They're basically a hole in the ground, I guess, lined with gravel or something.
That's the right.
Sump is the term for it. There's one on my street, and the area in question, which is approximately from 300 west to 700 west, was this new stretch that was put in, and the ditch was put underground, and that's when the cross connections were made, about 25 years ago. Down further on 700, or on 1600 north, there appears to be, right alongside what still is the ditch, but they appear to be the sumps. I don't know that factually. I know that there's a sump on my street on 700 west. And that's what I would like to see happen, is these things cross-connecting with the irrigation converted to be sumps.
Sure, okay.
So we get the runoff and the diesel fuel and the, whatever it is, out of the irrigation.
Sure, yeah,
Hopefully, we
got it.
don't have a lot of diesel fuel in the street, but.
Well, it was
that's
gasoline.
Number one.
Sorry,
Or gasoline, either one,
yeah.
either one, yeah. Okay.
It's a one-off occurrence, admittedly,
Yeah.
but
But after 25 years, it's
how
causing
much
some
junk has
concern,
ended
sure.
up in my yard? And I have noticed that the water is a little murky when it first shows up, and now I understand why.
If you don't have it off the street and you're coming out of the ditch, there's a heck of a lot of trash in there too, so.
Yeah, and you'll notice the one picture that showed the green orchard and the dead right there. Fortunately, for me, I guess, is that my habit is to route all of the water, 100% of the stream for the first couple of minutes because of the debris, into the orchard. And it killed the grass. You can see where it killed the grass. That's the inlet.
Yeah.
And the garden was largely spared, though even after JD did his remediation efforts, whatever, we could still smell it the next week and still see a slight sheen. One of those photos was the sheen that first day. A lot of fuel and gunk on top of the water. It smelled really bad.
Ron, what's your last name?
Richey, R-I-C-H-E-Y,
You've lived there about 20 years.
30,
Oh, 30.
yeah.
So
And
you
it-
watched this be built there?
I did.
20,
Mhm.
okay, gotcha.
When I first got here, it was an open ditch,
Okay,
so,
great. Well, we appreciate you bringing the concern up. We apologize that you're having to deal with that,
yeah.
and
Oh, yeah,
we're
go
gonna
ahead.
see
Well-
what we can do to.
What about the deer? Are we gonna,
Oh, we can talk about the deer.
Deer?
Go ahead. If you got another question, Reed, go ahead.
please, go ahead.
The storm drain just gather up independent of the irrigation water and they just connect, or is it common pipe for a while?
No,
So the inlet, yeah, the street inlet, in this particular case, the street inlet ties directly into the
Every-
irrigation pipe.
Like 5 of these inlets go into the main pipe? Or is the storm drain all up and they just have one intersection?
No.
So they're tying in, JD would probably be able to answer that better, but my understanding in talking with him, and when we went out there, is that each inlet ties into the irrigation pipe,
So it's all
yeah.
so it's like.
So it's not-
5
yeah.
Intersections.
Yeah.
In the irrigation.
Yeah, so it doesn't all come in together and
That
then
makes
come
it
into the
hard to
irrigation
fix.
pipe, so.
yeah, my use of the term storm drain is a bit of a misnomer, I guess. It's a grate that basically goes right down. You can see right down into the irrigation pipe.
Okay, so
It's,
it goes right into the pipe.
it goes right into the pipe.
Well, we can't, we don't, we're
I
assuming.
don't know the other four, we're
Right.
assuming, but
Yeah.
the one, I
So
could
it's
see
not a
it.
quick fix.
Yeah.
It's not a quick fix, unfortunately, no.
Chief, can you address us with the urban deer, please? Chief is on this, and he's actually not, he's a decent hunter himself, so.
Do you want me to sit down?
No, you're welcome to stay. I just wanted this because I actually had this on my list of things to give to you guys in my administrative reports tonight is urban deer. I want to give you a little history, so this will take just a second. We started the urban deer program 7 years ago. We started off with taking about 120 to 130 deer out of town at that time. Last year, we've done it every year. Last year, it was at 35, right in that area. So we've done it every year continuously. This past winter, as you guys know, we just got absolutely thumped with snow, and the deer were a victim of that. So I drive this town as much as anybody does. There are deer in this town, and I am not questioning that one little bit, but there's not as many as there was, and that's fair. And when you say he, it makes me assume he has horns.
Yeah.
Okay, so urban deer wouldn't even apply to him anyway. Yeah. Having said that, we've been in contact with the DNR over the last couple months. Urban deer could have started yesterday, August 1st. The DNR would like to, the concern they have is, if you remember, urban deer used to start August 1st and go till the end of the year. And then last year, they moved it and said, we don't want the migratory deer that are coming off the mountain being harvested, so we're gonna end that on October 31st. And so that's what we did last year. We did the 30 or so before October. The debate down there and the research they want to do is how many deer really live in town and how many are migrating through town. So what DNR wants to do this year is they want to come in the next month and trap a handful of deer, 4 or 5 deer, and put collars on them. And then they want to come back in November and trap another 4 or 5 and put collars on them and just see where they go through the year and see how many deer really reside in Mapleton and how many are traveling through as they migrate.
I think, Ron, you can put a trap, they can put a trap at Ron's house, right?
Yeah, yeah. So to answer your question, this year urban deer is a little different.
It's not gonna happen.
Yeah, that's the.
It's a research year.
It's a research year, and 2 reasons. One, the last winter really took a toll on the animals, and so that's where we're at.
Chief, is there a chance we can do a little bit of what we've done the last 3 years or not?
They've asked us not to.
They've said no.
I would imagine if we pushed it with them, if we have a problem area, maybe. I don't know. I didn't push real hard with them.
Well, when I talked
So-
to Rod, he told me you could research in 3 weeks, but you probably have to have a public hearing first.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, we resort it every year. This is the first year we've decided to go with this, so.
Okay, well, thank you.
Chief,
Fair enough.
I don't know if this program also applies to elk, or this last winter, was that just a one-off with so many elk coming down?
Yeah, the snow was so deep, they had nowhere to go but down here. That's the first year I've ever had them down here.
We don't have an urban elk program.
Yeah, right, so.
Or moose or bears or, any of it. But I do sympathize with what you're doing with.
There's no question, Ron, I sympathize with you too, and I received countless phone calls and texts about if there's anything the city can do for the destruction that elk did this year. And me being one of them, I replaced, I think, 65 pine trees and something else. And so I totally and completely get it. And our response was from the DNR said, you built the homes on their territory, so good luck, you're on your own, so.
Here's the silver lining to all of it. If the deer are eating my cantaloupe this year, they're gonna get poisoned with benzene.
So just to clarify though, if it's a buck, urban deer wouldn't have done anything anyway, so. Thanks, Ron.
He brings the white.
That's a nice way to solve it.
Oh, done.
Thanks, Ron. Appreciate that. We'll get after this and implement it into our program we got coming up. Thanks so much. All right, I assume Paxton's waiting. All right. We will move forward. That was public comment, correct?
Yes.
Okay. We'll move forward with our consent agenda, which is approval of one item as all as the city council meeting minutes from July 5th, 2023.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
A motion by Councilmember Egbert and a second by Councilmember Jones.
I'll just add something that Reed had a change that he would like, and I added that to line 52. He just kind of restated what he had said.
Great.
It was a simple change too, so.
With the changes Reed made, the motion stands.
Carlson, yes.
Egbert, yes.
Beck, yes.
Jones, yes.
Garrett, yes.
Great, we've got 2 action items. First item is consideration of a resolution approving the preliminary plat for the Harmony Ridge Plat A subdivision consisting of 99 lots in the planned development PD3 zone located approximately 5,000 south in Highway 89. Mr. Conroy?
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. You recall back in May of this year, the council approved some amendments to the development agreement that was originally approved in 2011, I believe. And the revised approvals included some changes to the park and trail configurations and what they were offering there, and increased the density to 990 residential units. So this project is just Plat A of that development. You'll recall this is the aerial of the project site, about 460 acres on the south part of town. Did you hit that next, Camille? It's freezing on me there. So this was the concept plan that was approved as part of the development agreement revisions. Plat A that we're talking about today is this first phase of the higher density area towards Highway 89. This was the trails plan, so the trail components that are included as part of this phase is just that main trail following up the road and starting behind the town-owned units that eventually will wrap around and connect with the city's Parkway Trail. Hit that next, thanks. So again, this is Plat A, so includes, if you're looking at the map, these are front-loaded townhomes, so these will be oriented towards the main entrance, or excuse me, rear-loaded, and then the rest of the townhomes are front-loaded, meaning the garages are facing the street, and then there's 3 condominium buildings that's proposed as part of this phase. The PD3 zone establishes the max density, which we mentioned, requires an open space requirement of 40%, has an established requirement for design review with their HOA and the adopted design standards that were part of that development agreement, as well as the trail developments. As far as the subdivision standards, we've included a summary of that in the staff report, and our recommendation is approval of the preliminary plat with the DRC comments that are included.
Great, thanks, Sean. This being an action item, we don't have a public hearing. Any questions for Sean, comments?
Were there any changes over what the original concept plan was?
No, this fits just right in with
That's what I
that
thought.
concept.
I didn't notice any.
Was that the trail in front? That's the trail that's going in at this phase?
Yeah, so the plan, I'll show you the trails. Let's go back to, there you go. So the blue, if you can see it here, the trail eventually will follow the main road all the way up to the city park. So the first phase with this project would just have that section of the trail. And then they have a paved trail that runs along the back of the development that connects with the lateral canal trail as well.
I thought I noticed in the comments that it was supposed to have a start on a tie into Highway 6.
Yeah, so they're required to have 2 points of access.
Yes.
So the main access obviously will be developed here. And then the secondary access, the commercial area, because it's not been designed or proposed yet, it's, you know, the actual location of the road and the alignment may change over time. So they're actually going to pave a temporary road that will come up and then exit out of that existing access point on Highway 6 that they have now.
So that's added too, okay.
Correct. So yeah, there'll be 2 points of
I figured
access.
out exactly which one you were going.
Yep.
And that's all approved by the state, I assume? state-
Well,
the
the
DOT?
access is already approved. That's their approved access point.
Will that be a stoplight?
Eventually,
Okay, but
possibly, but
initially,
right now,
it's
no.
that's not in our hands, is it?
Yeah, the Harmony Ridge Parkway is on the corridor agreement to be signalized. That first one off of Highway 6 won't be, the second one might be at some point, but.
So one more along here, most likely.
Yeah.
I would imagine it's probably going to need one, isn't it?
Any other questions?
Mentioned an HOA approval committee. Who is on that committee?
So Edge Homes will be the primary until the project's developed out and it turns over to the actual homeowners association.
Okay, I was guessing that, but it called it an HOA
Yeah.
committee. I don't know if
Yeah,
that
what
had
it
been
is
formed or
is
not.
the design, the PD3 zone establishes a design review process, and the plans that get submitted to us have to be reviewed by their HOA architectural committee that verifies it with the design standards that were adopted.
Okay, so the HOA Architectural Committee is actually an engineering firm.
Well, it'll be the development firm.
Okay, yeah, that's what I meant.
The city is not part of that committee, though.
Yeah.
Sean,
But they follow the city guidelines.
Correct.
can you show where the private roads are? Is that just between the buildings?
Yeah, in this case, the private roads will be the one that accesses this loop and the ones in between the condominium units.
Well, I think the concept plan certainly meets, exceeds expectations in terms of an open space requirement, despite the request for the numbers. I think that is something that we can all appreciate in light of the proposed project. Since our last meeting, when we spent the evening together, as I drive past that location, a comment was made during that meeting based on the terrain of that location and where these townhomes are located. They really are not on the road. They're kind of set back and kind of down in a depressed area of the ground. And I think it's hard to envision it until it goes vertical, but I think that lends itself to the, not wanting to see a higher density project, right? It masks it in some way. Nevertheless, people are still going to be on the roads, but that's the world we live in. So I'm prepared to make a motion to approve the resolution approving a preliminary plat for Harmony Ridge Plat A, consisting of 99 lots in the planned development, the PD3 zone.
We have a motion by Councilmember Jones and a second by Councilman Garrett.
Egbert, yes.
Beck, yes.
Jones, yes.
Garrett, yes.
Carlson, yes.
Great. Thanks, Sean. Thank you, Paxton and team. Appreciate it.
You didn't have to speak after all.
Good job.
We tried hard, but it didn't work.
Thanks, guys.
You're welcome.
All right, our item number 3 is a request to apply TDR on 1185 West and 2400 South, and we'll look for a motion to continue this item to August 16th.
So moved.
I'll second it.
We have a motion by Councilmember Jones and a second by Councilman Carlson.
Beck, yes.
Jones, yes.
Garrett, yes.
Carlson, yes.
Egbert, yes.
Great, thank you. We will go forward with our first public hearing item, which is on the proposed municipal energy sales and sales tax and telecommunications fee revenue bonds, which we hope to get rid of that second part soon. Series 2023, and the maximum principal amount of $11 million to finance the acquisition and construction of a city telecommunications network. Corey, you want to take this one?
Yeah, Mayor and Council, as you recall, back in April of 2021, we approved a bond for approximately $9.3 million. The first phase then started, and we stayed within the budget constraints that we had set up, and we began that project there in the 2022 timeframe. As we started on our phase 2, we recognized obviously that everyone is experiencing the same thing with cost increasing, that the same thing had happened to us with this project, and therefore, as you recall, back in November of 2022, we came before you to get an additional $2 million to help take care of the phase 2 portion of the project. And since that time, we've been able to now continue to do the construction for phase 2, and we're now ready to move forward with our remaining phase, which we'll call the phase 3, and that's what's here before you this evening, is to get the approval for that remaining portion. One of the things that we've been doing as a staff, and appreciate Matt's efforts as the Mapleton City Network Director, is taking a look at some critical factors. We're monitoring those closely, and I want to go over a couple of those with you. One of the things we're looking at is the community support. And we feel we've had that from day one. We continue to have that. We're getting a lot of positive feedback from our community and excitement for this project. So that's a good thing. That's one of the things we want to monitor. Obviously, we recognize with these costs, the average cost for construction has increased. And that's a critical factor that we have been watching closely. We're also watching closely the take rate. So far, the developments that we've been able to bring online, we're seeing a take rate of approximately 60%. So that's been a positive thing for us, and we believe that will even be more as we continue with this project. So that's been positive for us. The other thing we've been looking at is, as you recall back when this project went through, we were looking at a customer base of approximately 3,344 rooftops. Since that time, recognizing just as you see in this evening with the projects coming our way, our customer base is going to go to approximately 4,201. So that helps in this topic as well. And therefore, based on everything we're seeing so far, we're not going to have to increase the monthly charge for for a resident to connect to our fiber internet. So that's positive as well, that we can keep those rates like we had shown back in 2021. With that said, if you take now the three portions of these projects and add those up, it's approximately about 9.6 when you look at that first bond, the $2 million that we talked about from November 2022, and then this bond approximately at 10.9. Our total project cost is coming in about $22,589,000. We then took a look at our revenues based on potential customers of 4,201. We multiplied that by our take rate of 60%, and we're looking at a revenue base of about 2.873. With that said, then we looked at our operational costs, which is right around 2.4. So based on what we're studying and based on that take rate, we anticipate when this project's completed that our revenues will exceed our expenditures by approximately $440,000. So we're still feeling really good about this project. Again, like I mentioned earlier, very positive from our community, and we're continuing to watch this closely. And we just recognize we're in the same situation that everyone else that's experiencing right now with the increased costs that are coming throughout the country. So any questions for me?
One thing I'll just clarify, or a couple things. One is obviously 60% take rate is lower than we want. We want at least what Spanish Fork gets, almost 80%, 82%. And I believe we can get that. One of the biggest requests about the internet is we're not getting it to them fast enough. Just everybody wants it, right? So the demand for it is high, which is excellent. But we're just now in the phase where connections have started to happen. You've been on for a month now.
Yeah, and I'm getting, every week I get, this last week, 2 or 3 neighbors that have said with smiles on their faces, hey, I just got hooked up this week.
Excellent.
And they're excited about it.
So we're just now in the challenging phases. We had a meeting 2 mornings ago talking about how we're getting staffed up more to double and triple our connections per week, because we haven't even been able to advertise yet. This is all with no advertising. So now, once we get those crews up to speed and we're getting additional help, then we can actually go put door hangers. We can actually advertise. We haven't done that yet. So I believe that once we get the crews up to speed, another 2-3 weeks, we'll have those connections doubled and tripled. And then we start advertising, it's going to go. But we can't advertise and then have the demand rise higher. We're not prepared for it, and we create a bad rap right out of the gates. That's not the way business works. And we all know that. So we're going to be prepared for it and then push it hard from an advertising standpoint. And
to the mayor's point, we have put door hangers in Harvest Park, but you're correct. We have not moved any of those other developments yet because of that.
We barely have fiber in 2 more sections after Harvest Park, but we can't advertise yet. So we're probably 2.5 weeks away from doing that. So it's
The guys are in Harvest Park constantly doing connections and the splicing, and they're, I just talked to them last night. They are
busy.
Yeah.
Yes. So we're just in the phases now where we feel like we're finally, the rubber's hitting the road. We're making the connections, but there's some logistical things we're working through, and we'll be through those quickly. And rock and roll. One other thing about this bond that we're getting now, something that's important, Corey touched on it a little bit, but when we started, 3,300 roughly customers, we're 4,200 and something now, roughly 1,000 more. If you take that on the 20 million total and divide it by the amount of customers we're gonna have, which is 4,200, that's 4,800 per connection. So if you go back to the 3,300, that's 15 million. So really the additional increase in costs is somewhere between $4 and $5 million, if you break it down that way, is what we absorbed, which is stinking good, because that's only 25%, 35% max of increased costs that we've been able to maintain, but we've added all those customers, which has raised that. So it's pretty cool that we're not doubling like the sewer treatment plant or, you know, some of the other projects that are going on, that we're able to maintain that cost somewhat.
Well, and I think it's important to note too, the manner in which the bonds are stacked. They're staggered in such a way that we're not paying we're not paying for interest.
Capitalizing interest right when this is signed, gives us 36 months, buys us to get revenue. Project will be 100% prior to that.
Then the revenue pays for itself. Yeah, I think that's great.
Refinance.
Just a question, I guess, relative to your payback. The bond has incremental increase in interest, and when you're doing the payback, I assume you use that incremental increase. And if we were to renew the bond at a lower rate, I assume that would be even better than we have now.
That's correct.
How did you manage the interest?
How's it going? Brian Baker with Science Bank and 34 East 800 North in Mapleton. We're waiting for fiber. Actually, we have it. Now we just need whatever it is you have to do to get it from the road
to your house.
But so essentially, you have lower rates in the first years and higher rates in the second years. And so that feeds into the amortization schedule, just like you would on a home mortgage, except a home mortgage has the same rate throughout. This works the same way. You just have different rates for each year. But when you run the numbers, you make it so that every single payment is the same. So when you come back and refinance, you take out all of the old rates that are remaining and just replace them with new lower rates that would obviously make the coverage table look better and make the revenue to the city look better. So,
excellent.
And if we don't renew, those rates, interest rates are firm.
They're firm. And even though it's an ascending table of interest rates, where the first year is a lower rate technically than the 25th year, the payments are all fixed at the outset. So it's not like you would see higher and higher interest costs, meaning your payments would go up as you went forward. It's all set at the outset.
That's what I mean. It is all fixed.
Yep.
A couple of other things for you.
Thanks, Brian.
If this gets approved this evening, then, Brian, I believe you mentioned the closing date would be August 9th, what we'd be looking at there. Once that's approved, our next city council meeting will come and update our feasibility study. As you recall, we've been using that study, and we'll update it. And it's basically just going to hit on the points I talked about this evening. And then tonight with these two items, the first item, obviously, you don't got to make a motion to. That was just to ensure that there's a public hearing. And the second item is, item 5 is the one you would make a motion on.
Okay, we move to item 5. All right, consideration of
Just note, open
do we have to on that one too?
We have to do a public hearing.
All right, we'll open now this item 4 to a public hearing.
Item 5.
Hold on.
No, 4.
Do we have to do a public hearing on 4 also? Okay. All right, this being a public hearing item, we'll open it for public comment.
I'll just note while we're sitting waiting for public comment that it's 11 million, not 110 million, like it is on that chart there.
Oh.
There's one extra
Comma's
zero.
in the right spot.
Yeah, the comma's right, but
There's an extra zero.
Yeah, that's all of our bonus.
This is a fast one.
There's no.
What are we signing?
Being there no public comment, we'll close the public hearing portion and move to item number 5, since we don't need a motion on item 4.
That's correct.
And item 5 is consideration of resolution authorizing the municipal energy sales and sales tax and telecommunications fee revenue bonds, Series 2023, in the maximum aggregate principal amount of $10,945,000 to acquire and construct a city telecommunications network, authorizing a pricing committee, a general indenture of trust, and a second supplemental indenture and a bond purchase agreement. authorizing all other actions necessary for the transactions completed herein and related matters. Corey, you have anything to add? Okay. That being the case, we will open for public hearing. Seeing there are none, we'll close the public hearing portion. Are there any questions, additional questions or comments from the council? If not, we'll look for a motion.
I'll make the motion. Do I need to read all of that, or can I say so moved?
I think you can make a motion based on item number 6. Five, excuse me.
Do I have to read all of that? Oh, okay. I make a motion to approve item number 5, to authorize the sales tax and telecom revenue bond.
Okay, good.
Second.
Is that good? As written.
All right, we have a motion by Councilmember Jones and a second by Councilman Beck.
Jones, yes.
Garrett, yes.
Carlson, yes.
Egbert, yes.
Beck, yes.
Thank you, council. I will also add the council's been very involved in this, and your feedback's been excellent and great and appreciated. And thanks for your input and ability to get this done. This is a major thing for our city, and it'll be our second most valuable asset, I believe, behind our roads. So thank you. It's a big step for us. We will now move, Brian, thank you, appreciate you. We'll move forward now to our administrative reports, and we can start with Mr. Minor. And while you're walking up here, congratulations on an excellent Pioneer Days. Thank you for your...
I think we need to play a walk-up song.
Yeah. We've given you more and more over the years, and you've been able to whip right through it, and we're grateful you're in the position you're in, and the way in which you handle it and take it and accept it and beg for more, and we're super grateful. Thank you, and we're going to keep giving it to you.
Well, that's all I was going to say, was just a thank you to all of you for coming to Pioneer Days. It was awesome. It was record turnouts everywhere, and ended with a nice finale of fireworks, and it was awesome. So I just wanted to come and just publicly thank all of our volunteers, all of our staff, our Pioneer Days committee, and then also all of our partners this year for our event. It was awesome to see the community involvement, and then also be able to get others involved that we haven't been able to in the past. So it was a fun, draining week. I went MIA for a week, just barely got here from the airport. So I'm excited to get back to work. But again, just thanks for being a part of it. It was a fun week. So
Excellent. Any other comments? Now that we're on the 24th, let's just hammer it out. Any other? I know, Reed, you've got one. Go ahead, Casey or Reed.
Just with NYCC, they said it was also very smooth for them. They were very glad that they didn't have to do the face painting this year. If you know, last year that was torture. It was torture for them. So they said the local royalty did that. So yeah, kudos, and glad we worked that out for the NYCC.
and one thing on that note too, so we're gonna meet as staff next week. So if you have had any feedback from neighbors, friends, whoever it is, if you want to just email me those things, and we can make sure to discuss those next week when we sit down and meet.
Reed's got one. I was just going to mention also, as you know, the governor attended and got there about, maybe 45 minutes before the fireworks. And as we were talking before, he mentioned his favorite thing to do is to choreograph music with fireworks. And he had no idea what he was about to watch. And he said he did it for Fairview down at their hometown for the last however many years, and had worked on that with them.
Did you tell him he's hired?
And
Busy on his farm.
and about 6 minutes in, he made probably a half a dozen times, he leaned over and says, "I can't believe this. I've never seen like this ever." And he did some posts on social media that night that you might have seen, and then the next morning sent some really nice texts. And you all need to know that he was super grateful to be invited, first of all, that we were kind to him. It all went good, and he said he believes we have the best celebration in the state of Utah, and he says, I don't say that lightly. And he said the feeling, that what was going on there was just
Well, we've known
incredible.
that for 20 years.
Yeah, we just needed him to come and confirm that, right, and verify. So he was ecstatic, he thought it was awesome, and that says a lot about what we're trying to accomplish here as a council and staff and everything in the city. I will tell you, I had people come up to me that they have been to the city before. Some of them had run for Congress, some had run for state, Senate and whatnot, and they said there's a real tangible thing going on here. We don't really know what it is, but you can almost feel it in the air. And they're like, we've been around all different places and cities and people. It doesn't exist like this anywhere else. And that's from some of the activities during the week. That's from the parade to the city park, then taking a break and then going to Ire Allen. I'm just telling you, it's real and it's cool. And so that's what we tried to maintain through everything we're doing and who we are. And we just got to keep that up. We got to hold tight to that and keep it going. So everything that was released, and the puzzle's cool touch that brings history in and people. And so I just congratulate everybody. Staff did an outstanding job. I know it takes a lot of your time and efforts, Chief, from police and getting all the other agencies involved, and Camille and all the notifications. And
I'll listen to him.
For the record, I was here the next day too.
And it was the largest fireworks show I think anybody's seen west of the Mississippi, and it was outstanding. And there's some changes we need to make, I think, with music and whatnot, but we'll get that done for next year. But thank you, council, for supporting and doing what you did too. And I can't say enough. It's really cool. And I had people from the community write me nice texts and send some emails that some of you have seen, and it's incredible. Everyone's super grateful. So we just got to keep plugging away at that. So.
Awesome, that's great. Did you want to bring it up?
Reed's got one.
I was in charge of a family reunion that evening, so I didn't attend, but I did have an email from somebody. I don't know if anybody else did or not. They're new to town, and they thought the band was kind of loud, and then they were disappointed in the swearing, and then there's some of the lewd language in some of the songs, and they didn't think it was really family appropriate, and they're quite disappointed. So I don't know if that has a good founding or not, but I don't think that's what we want.
Logan,
Was
did you
it
have
that way?
anybody else come up to you about that?
I had that observation with some of the song selection too, not family. I mean, I even texted and said, wow, we're going to have to talk to our kids about this. I think they're phenomenal. I would love to have them back, but maybe we need to curate the song selection to be more family friendly.
Yeah.
My feedback, I mean, I've already mentioned this, but I just felt so much pride the whole week, just so much. But even on Monday, as I was texting about my first observation of Gaga Ball, just this week, which never seen that before, and they set up our stuff, there were something like 25 kids or more just spontaneous Gaga Ball. It was the coolest thing. And I sat there on one of our swing benches and was like, I love this place. I can't believe I get to live here. And it just was the coolest thing. And I took pictures, and I'm texting people saying, hey, you gonna sponsor our Gaga Ball arena? I mean, I was just so proud to do that. So kudos for what you've done, Logan. Just amazing work, amazing stuff last week. So proud of the staff and the volunteers especially, but with your leadership, it's just those feelings you helped create, and I'm thankful for that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I agree. That's one thing we haven't done with them in the past, and that's something we can do that will help facilitate that.
Yeah, that's.
And because definitely we don't want, we can't have, something over the top in the middle of all that. That's not who we are.
What's really interesting is behind stage, it really doesn't sound loud at all.
No.
I kept leaning over to people. I'm like, are they gonna turn the music up? And then
The
I've had
volume
people
was fine, but
We had
that was too loud, or it could have been louder. So, but as far as curating the songs, I think that's an easy thing we can write in.
One that,
There's plenty of room in the back, lots of room back there if they don't like the volume.
yeah, that's right, that's right. We did have the music a little low when the fireworks started, and it took halfway through that song to get it turned up, but we'll be on that. One other thing that came out of it, and Corey, I don't think I've mentioned this yet, but I had there was 3 people came up to me, and I know what businesses they've been involved in, and they've done exits out of businesses and seen lots of business across the country and been involved in a lot. And they said, we need to tell you how excellent of a job that this city staff and council has done in rolling out this new, our new branding. They say, we've been involved in companies doing branding all over the place, and large companies have sold for lots and lots of money, big numbers. And they're like, we've not seen companies do it this well. from the weekly activities through the parade, through the people presenting them at the thing at night, and they're just blown away. They're like, we need you guys to come give a branding seminar on how to do this, because it's unbelievable. So staff, Madison, everybody, excellent job. Everything is just, the feedback's awesome. We'll take the little complaints and stuff back and make it better, and so just congratulations, thank you.
And we
We're
already
lucky, we're lucky to live here.
And we have a title sponsor volunteer for next year.
There we
because
go,
it was
I
so
like
good,
it.
so.
Let's go. Maybe we'll have 2 or 3.
We'll have a competition for the title sponsor.
We got one headache for you. And I talked to the mayor about this the other day, but next year, July 24th falls on a Wednesday. So if you want to pull your calendars out real quick
What
and
day is
see-
it gonna be, huh?
July
Yeah,
20th.
Yeah.
When's Spanish Fork doing the rodeo?
They usually stay right on the.
They'll stay on the
24th.
date,
They'll stay
and their
on the
parade.
I think you have to go before. not
Yeah,
after.
If you're
before.
tricking us though, is if you go before or after, pull your calendar out, the dates seem a little odd. They seem to be too early or too late.
I just don't think you can win when it's on a Wednesday.
No.
I don't think you can win, and I think there's more anticipation before than
Yep.
after, in my own personal opinion, when it's
Yep.
right in the middle of the week.
I think it's easy.
I would
It's gotta
move to go
before.
early.
Now, that being said, when it moves to, in 2 years, when it's a Thursday, I think it's important to keep the consistency of the Saturday before. However, if it's a Thursday or a Friday, you do it on that Saturday, but that gets too confusing.
So the only challenge is.
Logan's
near-
looking at me like,
that's kinda-
"Shut up."
We were where you were at first, and then we start actually putting the date when we say, oh, July 20th, that seems soon. And then if you throw out, always start a week before, that's actually July 13th. If we were
Well,
to start
what
our
are you
tournaments and
suggesting,
stuff.
starting on July 20th?
Well, that's, if you said, if we
No,
were to do everything on.
By
a
the time we got
Saturday-
done, in the discussion that we had, it was do it on the 24th.
Yeah.
Which conflicts with Spanish Fork, and then we thought,
Oh,
next year is,
I'm not in the right year, I'm sorry.
the following year is a Thursday, the following year is Friday, the following year is Saturday, right? So we said,
Gotcha.
maybe when it's on Wednesday, Thursday, we do it on Wednesday, Thursday. That's where we ended, and now that's not what we have to do, but after going back and forth, and Sean having a different opinion, Corey, and
So
vice
the
versa.
the week's festivities would be the 15th through the 20th.
Well, the 13th.
Can
Yeah,
we
it
poll,
would be
can
the
we
13th.
do a quick social poll on it? And just like see what people the citizens would be
We're,
interested in?
If we're okay with that.
I think you're gonna
Result.
get 50 and 50.
But
Well, it doesn't mean we have to go with that, but it would help us understand the direction. I mean, you might have, if you have an overwhelming response that says,
I had a lot of
All day the
feedback saying
20th.
that they liked it on Saturday, instead of during the week.
Yeah, I don't think that we have my personal opinion
We
is
do
I don't think
Saturday.
we go back to doing it on the 24th ever. It always needs to be on a
I
Saturday.
agree with
our routine with the day, and then everybody gets a break in the afternoon in the end, it's a thing. I think that's part of the mojo
Family
we've
or
got.
word of spread enough that family comes in from out of town, and they're not gonna be able to do that on a Wednesday from out of state, especially because they don't have this as a holiday. And even in Utah, most companies are no longer
Yeah, I don't
giving
have
that
it
as a
But
holiday.
the question, I think, is do you do the fireworks on the Saturday before or the Saturday after? But it has to be consistent.
that's the problem.
I
But the
say-
Saturday before is the 20th, so you're doing it 4 days before, it's not the end of the world.
I
but-
say we break it up Friday. If it's Friday, 24th is on Friday, we do it the day after. Everything before that, we do. But
Wasn't it last year on the 21st?
Do we need to change the state law for fireworks, or however that is?
It was?
Last year's the
City
23rd.
ordinance.
Was it?
That's interesting comment, actually.
I
Let's
say
see.
keep it on the Saturday before, fireworks the Saturday before.
Yeah.
22nd.
I agree.
Do I need to make a
20.
motion?
You know,
Logan, I think
this
last
is
year was on
I
actually
think it's
playing out.
administrative and it's not our
It's actually
authority,
playing out good for me
so
with football. I can actually do what
I
Logan did.
defer to
Sunday was
Corey.
the 24th.
Because football wouldn't start till a week later.
Mayor Logan, July 20th, we're already having people call us.
That's
to
what I-
set their family.
I think the biggest kicker is this. Theron's onto something. This is a family event. We're trying to bring families together because that's what creates this feeling that we've got, I believe. That's a big part of it. And if the families can't come on a Wednesday in the middle of the week, and they can come on a Saturday, then I think we do it before
has
the
to be Saturday.
24th. And then people that do have the 24th off, they've got that day to go Spanish Fork Rodeo or do whatever they want.
Yeah.
Keep it on the Saturday before.
Okay, we'll
Might
go
be onto
July.
something.
That's
July
what I've already
20th.
been telling people when they've called. Didn't know we were gonna have this conversation, so.
You
It was
lucky.
perfect.
That's why you're sweating.
I'm blocking it out right
Yeah,
now.
I thought you haven't been at work.
You've been
Hold
working on vacation?
You're leaving on a cruise the next week though, right? Isn't that when it's scheduled?
Oh, actually, I think I worked so many hours, I got sick. So my first half of my vacation, I was not good, not in a good spot.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say you're comping the next month.
No, I wish. Yeah, I wish.
Okay, let's try to avoid that next time.
Yeah.
Moonlight Half coming up
Yeah,
September.
Moonlight is on September 1st. So Friday, September 1st.
Awesome.
Might have people out of, a lot of
So do we come up with a consensus, or are we gonna do
We
it?
good with that?
We're gonna do a poll.
July 20th?
I'm fine going July
July
20th.
20th.
All in
Okay.
favor?
All right, let's
Yes.
do it.
Okay.
Set. Thank you, Logan. All right, Matt, do you have anything for us, or you were here for the? Okay, great. Chief, you want to go? All right.
I might make a comment relative to the, I guess, to the digging, the trench. It was, I seen it earlier, and it was kind of really messy in the street, and I guess hooking the vacuum truck to it, when it went through my neighborhood, was amazing, so.
Your neighborhood was amazing? It was
Yes,
good?
I think it was very clean with the vacuum truck.
Where did you see today that wasn't?
Well,
When it started.
like
He just
back
commented
when it
that-
started.
Oh, when it
like in-
started, okay.
When it started.
You haven't seen anything in the last week that's not
No,
good?
no, no, no.
Oh, okay,
No,
good,
no.
all right.
That's good to hear.
That is
Thanks.
good, because we
Yeah.
need to know, if you see something, take a picture.
No, they've
I
been-
do videos and just text them to them, but if you see something, take a picture, video, please send it.
It's massively different than they were doing it in Harvest Park.
Yeah,
Good.
It makes a big difference.
okay. Yeah, we need everybody's eyes on that. We'll take all your feedback you'll give us. All right,
Okay,
Chief.
I wasn't even gonna talk Pioneer Day, but I tease Logan, but man, that guy's on it. I told the staff on Monday, I love being part of a team. That's just something I've always loved. And from my perspective, this staff that tackles Pioneer Day, man, it was a pleasure to be with. That's a good, you guys know, that's a good group of people. So Logan, I tease you, but I love you, so. Two things. We've already talked about Urban Deer. Talked to Chief Glasgow this morning. He wanted me to mention that our public safety night out thing that we do in the park is September 7th. So we just want to get that on your calendar. So September 7th is that. And then we have something I want to bring up with you guys. I want to get some feedback from you guys. Fundraising is a touchy subject in the police world. It's hard because it seems like inevitably somebody donates money and then a week later you're dealing with them in some sort of situation and it becomes awkward, or there might be, saying, hey, I donated, don't give me a ticket or something like that. Having said that, I'd like to put a feeler out there with you guys to see what you think about the police and fire department doing a little fundraising for a monument in front of our building. You'll remember you had somebody come in a few months ago and talk about it. I don't want to bring up his name, but he's a pretty special guy to our town. And we would like to do some fundraising and get a bell or something like that for him and put it out there. Are you guys okay with us doing that? Do you see any problems? Are you guys have any, and Corey, am I missing something if I said?
I think it's good to clarify, like, kind of the vision of what we're thinking. It's
Yeah.
gonna, kind of like a brick monument with a bell, and it'll be over at the public safety building.
And I know what you guys are gonna ask is what's the estimated cost? And it could be anything from a few $100s, which is,
I'm wondering, is this with somebody's name on it?
yeah.
Okay.
And the reason I haven't brought up the name is the point's brought, if you guys aren't supportive of that, I really don't wanna,
Oh, no,
have
that's
his
fine,
name
that's fine.
with
I'm
me,
just
but-
wondering where to write the check.
Yeah.
I'm
But
just wondering, like, Chief, when you do this, you fundraising, sponsorships and stuff,
yeah.
it comes with a package of stuff. So how many free passes, speeding?
That's the
How many?
that's the
how
topic.
many- Hey, let's start
That's the
talking here.
How much, how much for the punch card?
That's the
Punch
topic.
card, something, Chief, come on.
See, now, in the fire world, in the fire
highest
world,
sponsor gets to
fundraising's
get out
not
of jail
bad.
free.
But in the
Raise
police
a lot of
world, it
money?
is complicated.
You want to raise a lot of money? We'll hand punch cards out.
I don't think the residents that are calling me about the speeding on their road would be too appreciative of that, so.
Could you package the fundraising just under the fire department and not involve the police in that?
Yeah,
in that
that's a
regards?
possibility. Having said that, though, selfishly, I want to be a part of it.
Of
I
course,
want our
yes.
department to be a
Yeah.
part of it.
I think in the deployment of it and in the presentation of it, absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I haven't reached out to the association at all. I wanted to get some feelers from you guys. I've talked to you the most about it. The
Yeah.
rest of you guys, I probably haven't brought it up as much, but
One thing we want to just be making sure we get some insight from you this evening is the idea would be to put it somewhere in that front part of the building. So are we okay with that? Obviously, that's always a sensitive subject is we have a lot of good people in our community that could, deserve to have a statue in town or what so, but are we okay with that being there in front of the building, or do we want to revisit that idea and consider where we want to locate it?
I just want to champion it really quick, that while he's still around, to have him be able to ride his bike up to that thing and ring that bell, and then when he's no longer with us, to have that as a monument. I just don't have any issue with that.
Okay, I gotta make sure I'm not missing something. It was mentioned that there's been a presentation made about this. Was I, not paying attention?
He came.
He came and requested a siren to be installed at the station.
I got you, okay. Gotcha, I'm with you.
And in
I'm
lieu-
tracking it.
In lieu of a siren, this is what Chief Jackson.
I'm tracking with you, absolutely. Yep.
Will the fundraiser have that in mind, or was it, we're just having a fundraiser, but we're not telling you for us yet?
no, it's specific. I hope I'm answering your question right. It's specific to what we're doing here. I don't want any more.
They'll know what they're donating to,
Yeah.
for this monument,
Yeah,
and who it'll be for.
Yeah, exactly.
Who it's for will bring in the,
Yeah,
know-
it
I
will,
know.
I'll be honest, it's not gonna take much. I just,
I think it's, he'll sell it.
I'd recommend putting it under public safety as opposed to fire or police. You can put it, and that way you can
Okay.
avoid some of the requests for punch
Go on.
cards.
you guys good?
I think it's
Yes,
great.
thank you.
Let's go for it.
I think we'll run with that then if you guys don't mind. Okay.
If there's anything the council can, I think we can all, as a representatives of our city, well, I cannot speak for everybody else. I'm happy to help in any way I can.
Yeah.
And can we set up a convenient way to donate online so that we can share a link?
QR code.
Yeah.
Oh, boy, I feel the heat just coming.
Bryce, make it happen.
Oh, he is not liking that. Bryce wants a handwritten check delivered to the clerk at the front window.
Exactly, what's a check? Kind of putting the cart a little bit before the horse. I have not done had any estimates or anything done. I just wanted to kind of get your feelings first. So that would be the next step, is to come back to you and make sure it's a design that meets your approval.
I'd recommend including Madison and make sure it's branding consistent too, so it aligns with that.
Yes, font and all that.
Okay, cool, thank you guys.
Okay, thanks, Chief.
Chief.
Sean?
Just one quick one, short-term rentals. We will be bringing that before you in the next couple of meetings. We'll talk
That's an
with
easy
Dallas on the agenda. Yep.
Can we talk about that one in advance before it
Let's make
hits
sure,
us?
Jessica, that's the only
As
thing
far
on the
as
item.
what?
Only item on
Just
the menu.
individually?
Yeah, like,
Oh, yes.
or with duos, just
Yeah, I
so
would-
Yeah, let's do
we
it.
have all
suggest-
the information, because it's a,
Yes.
I would suggest
Heavy
every one
conversation.
of us meet with Sean
Yeah.
at least and have an individual conversation about it, because
Please.
it's big.
But yes, I agree, but you have shared all of the information with us as this has, the different iterations that have come up over the last 18 months.
Yep. But it'd be good to just work through any questions you might have and issues.
Which planning commission meeting was that in recently?
I'd have to check. It's been a few months.
June or-
Because we've been waiting. We've had so many big items coming. Even though the agendas have been small, we've had some items that we didn't want to intermingle those, so.
There
we've
was
been
one
waiting.
earlier in the year, but is
Yeah,
this?
it was this. So
It was that one?
that was
Okay.
that, yeah. Okay, that's all I had.
Okay, thanks, Sean. Rob?
All right, I've got a few things I'll go through quickly here. Seal well, we were thinking that it was gonna be a little bit simpler to get it approved and get everything up and running, and it took longer to get everything approved through the state, but it is approved now. We're waiting on one more piece of equipment. When I came in, I think it was March or April, to get the approval to purchase the initial equipment. Between the equipment and the cost for Hanson Allen to help us get plans prepared and approved through the state, it was, my estimate was about 80,000. It was about 75,000 that I brought to you, and then it was gonna be another 5,000 miscellaneous equipment that we needed to finish up the project. There was one item that we didn't know at the time that we needed to install. That one was about 15,000, so just as an FYI, it's 95 or 100,000 to finish up that project. But it should be online. Everything's been approved. We're waiting on that one last piece of equipment, and it should be arriving next week, and we should have seal well back up and running by the end of the month. The spring redevelopment project, we got a $2 million grant from the state water board. And what I am planning to do with that is that was about a $2 million grant. The funding that we had going towards the spring redevelopment project was $3 million. And what that covered, that was what Stephen before me had also planned on doing, was that $3 million. And what that did was redevelop all the springs, redo the pipes from the Service Berry Spring, which is the lowest one out of the canyon, and then redo the from I guess spring or the Service Berry to the chlorinator, redo the chlorinator building, and tie that into the system. What was left out of there was about $2 million worth of redoing the lines up to all the other springs. There are existing lines. They are older lines that it's likely within 10 years we may need to replace anyways. And so with this grant, my plan, the thing that I would think is the best use of that is to just do it all at the same time. I know it's what the Forest Service wants us to do anyways. That is the thing that is holding up and making that to where we haven't started on that project, is getting everything negotiated through the Forest Service. And so being able to do all of it with this grant, being able to do all of it all at the same time should help us cross that finish line and get that project moving forward. And then we'll get the spring water back into our system, which is great. One thing that will be coming through, next council meeting in 2 weeks is we have to have an updated water conservation plan. And so that is on, we have to have that advertised for 2 weeks, public advertisement to have the public meeting at next council meeting. So we got that, yesterday, I think, Camille, up. The public notice, and so in 2 weeks we'll get that approved, and then we can move forward in accepting that grant.
What is it they're looking for? Is this a program we've already started? Is conserve water, or?
Water conservation plan is the one that we have in place. Yeah, we have one in place that was approved in 2014. But it's supposed to be updated every 5 years, and for us to be able to receive this grant, it's got to have been approved within the last 5 years. So we've got to get this one updated, yeah, and then we can accept the grant. So, I mean, that's one of the reasons, right? We're supposed to have it anyway. So I just didn't realize when I started that it hadn't been updated. There was actually one that was prepared, and I didn't realize that the state still had comments, and so it hadn't been fully approved. So
will we be able to start the springs this fall? Probably too late in the year already.
No, we're still hoping. We're still hoping. The biggest thing is getting the final conditions from the Forest Service, which we're closer than we've ever been, and they just got to tell us when it's final.
This year, then, don't we?
No, we don't have to finish it. We have, according to the grant, we've got like 2 years or something before it has to be put in. It'll be done sooner than that. So yeah, our hope is that we can get, the last time we talked, we're right there on getting their final conditions, and we don't want to put it out to bid without knowing. It's really time constraints is the biggest thing on there, and that's going to help determine what contractor, if they can do it within that time frame, that help them determine and what the cost is going to be. And so we don't want to advertise it before knowing that, because that's a big thing for the contractor. So anyways, we should have that done. I mean, so we're hoping to still start this fall, and then should be done in about a year. We also had a booster pump go out a couple of weeks ago, so that one, as soon as we know what the final cost to refurbish that, it'll probably be about $25,000, so I'll bring that in as soon as we know what the cost is. We have somebody that Rhino Pumps pulled it out and is looking at it and going to get us the final estimate of what it's going to cost to refurbish that. We're hoping and assuming that it can be refurbished as opposed to buying a new one. I think y'all were included on the email for Westwood Well. That motor for that pump also went out. We have one on hand, a replacement motor on hand that we were able to replace it with, but at the same time we were redoing the air conditioning in that building. It just hasn't been keeping up, and so it's been getting super warm. That may have been one of the things that contributed to it. It's an older pump, and it wasn't a complete surprise that it went out anyways, but I think that may have been kind of the thing that pushed it over the line is things were heating up pretty good in that well house. With that, it was louder when we installed the new pump. So I responded to y'all, got back with y'all, and then I got back to the citizen, and she hasn't responded. I offered saying, hey, we think this is what it is, but let me know if you still want to meet and if you still see a problem. And she didn't respond, hasn't responded saying that she wants to meet. So I think we've gotten things taken care of there.
Hey, Rob, on that point, we've had conversations about turning off that well in the past. Is that something that we should revisit, or instead of paying to replace the motor?
Well, we always keep a replacement motor on hand, and so we still may at some point move in that direction. So we're getting in a, and I don't want to make this into that we're at a problem spot. We're not at a problem spot. But before we start taking anything off from our culinary line, we need to, over the next few years, get more people. We'll have projects that'll get more people onto the PI system. We have enough things approved that we really needed to switch people off over to PI before we talk about shutting any of our culinary wells down or alternatives on there. So,
thanks.
At some point, yes, that's still a discussion. Just not yet.
Okay.
Let me see, sorry, I guess we already talked about the stormwater master plan. We'll put it out to bid, or qualifications review in the next couple of weeks to get that out, and then it'll be probably a month and a half after or something that we'll have a negotiated contract that I'll bring to you for your approval to get a consultant going on that. We just finished up mostly finished up our HA5 overlay project. What we did on the streets that have fiber trenching. If anybody calls you about this, we kept back from the fiber trench. Did 90% of the street just kept back from the fiber trench, and then as soon as the cap is on there, at the end of that project, we'll come and just do the sides over to the gutter, and then we will have a crack seal project coming up that I'll bring to you within if not next city council meeting, maybe the one after. And then if you see our consultant out there, will before school starts here within the next couple of weeks, we'll have somebody come in and touch up the school crossings and the school symbols. So just to make you aware, in case you see that.
Excellent. Thanks, Rob. All right, to Reed.
Well, the solid waste transfer station seems to move along quite well. We have all the buildings, walls tipped up, have the roof on, basically the main structure for sure, and things are progressing well so far and still on track for next spring.
Great. Thank you, sir. Jessica?
All my meetings are coming up, so I don't have a report. Community preparedness is coming up, and all the league and legislative policy committees, so just encourage people to register for the league conference in Utah, in Salt Lake, obviously.
Did you get that email from Camille a couple days ago?
Yes. What time is that public safety night on September 7th? 6 o'clock.
Unless you want to arrive early to get it ready for the dunk tank.
They only want to dunk.
I did it last year.
They only want to dunk the cops.
It was colder than I thought it was going to be.
Well, I think our city council representative for public safety should probably.
Yeah, that should be the next one. Sure.
Or her husband. Let's do that.
I would probably do it.
I think Dan would do it, huh? All right. Thanks, Jessica.
Just what I said earlier about the NYCC. That's all I had.
Great. Thanks, Casey. Leslie.
Well, I have the best of intentions after our 24th celebration to send each of our staff members a personal note. And it was really my sincere intention, and I didn't do it. So I'll just publicly tell you really and truly, as I went to the different events, which particularly on Friday and Saturday, I just appreciate the time that all of your staff puts in. So please communicate to all of your staff in parks and the administrative staff, police. It's a hot day, it's a long day, you're dealing with a lot of people with varied opinions and experiences, and I appreciate that effort and what it does and contributes to the biggest event for our city. So thank you, I appreciate that, I appreciate your time, and please share that with your staff and the other people on the team.
I think it says a lot when you put on a city party and have more people attend that actually live in your city.
Yeah.
I don't think that's happening anywhere, if you think about it. So, pretty cool. Darren?
Yeah, echo to that. That's my sentiments exactly. Make sure to spread that around. I don't have anything for reports.
Great, thank you. Camille?
I've heard from a few of you for the LEAF convention, so if you need to, if you can let me know by tomorrow, because the registration goes up on the 16th, and I'm out on Monday for a couple weeks.
Correct, good for you.
Not a vacation.
Oh. All right.
She's not comping time.
Okay, well, we wish you the best, Camille. All right, Corey?
One item for you, Mary Fotek reached out to me. First off, she wanted to thank everyone for the puzzle. She thought that was awesome, and it sounded like about 10 of her family members purchased a puzzle, and she was just very, very appreciative of that. You're all familiar where the GAC building's at, which is south there of the town square. So what she's requesting is she's continuing to get people contacting her to say, hey, we've got things we would like to donate. What she's running into is running out of space to store stuff. She recognizes there's a time frame that's, you know, still unknown, but getting close here, maybe in the next couple years. But her hope would be that we would be willing to say that's gonna be part of the town square. That would be an area where they would possibly store stuff, possibly actually have that open for walk through as well. I haven't got a chance to talk to Logan or Rob on this, but if she feels that there's a commitment from the mayor and council that, yeah, that's gonna be the town square, then she'll move forward with allowing people to continue to donate, and they'll find places to store it for the time being. Thoughts on that? I know it's been thrown out there for a library use. I think that's gonna be too small for a library.
I think it's, without the facility master's plan 100% complete, it's hard to make any type of commitments like that. I think we tell her we do the best we can to preserve what we can, and with the space we have, and hopefully in the next 6 to 8, 12 months, we've got a better rollout of what we have funds for, what we can get bonding for, what we're gonna push forward. I think that's the best answer we can give her, really.
That facilities master plan will be coming in September. It's about wrapped up, so we're close on that.
And then comes the decisions and bonding and all that, so we won't have an answer in September, but, you know.
I agree with what the mayor said, however, I'm probably 99% on the side of saying, yeah, that, in my opinion, I would support that.
Yeah.
Despite the master plan.
Yeah, especially obviously the close proximity to what we're already accomplished there at that town square. It fits in.
The size.
There, but.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll report back to her, tell her to give us a couple more months, and let's work through this facilities master plan, and then we can make some decisions from there. That's all I had.
Excellent, thanks, Corey. Bryce, I assume you got nothing. All right. All right, so we need to go to closed session, Corey? Are we good? We don't have anything, right?
I think we're good, yeah.
Okay. All right, we'll look for a motion to close.
So moved.
By
Second.
Councilmember Jones, a second by Councilman Garrett. All in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Yes, he gave us a silly number. I mean, it was like, he's like, why